In this video, I'm going to design and print a custom hitch cover for my truck. So, let's design it. So I just got a new truck. Well, it's new to me. And I wanted to put the Dan Designs logo on the back of it, so I figured I would design a hitch cover that slides into the hitch mount and is held in by the hitch pin and has a power that plugs into where the trailer lights do and lights up. So I'm going to do a Dan Designs logo and show you how to do some other custom configurations. And this video is about how to do that start to finish. So let's jump into SolidWorks first and design it. First we'll make a 2x2 square that will fit into the receiver of the hitch. Now we'll extrude it and add radiuses to all four corners. We'll use the shell command to make it hollow. Now we'll move on to make a hole for the hitch pin and extrude that through both sides. Now we'll sketch the shape of the tensioning tab on one face. The purpose of this feature is to keep it from rattling around in the hitch. We'll use the offset command to create a cutout and extrude it through one side. Now we'll revolve a little raised dome on the face of this. This is the portion that will actually interfere with the inside of the hitch. Now we'll make an axis in the center of the part and make a circular pattern so we have one on each face. We'll put a little chamfer on the inside of each one of them to strengthen them up a bit. Now we can start developing the transition to the face. We'll do this by creating the face shape on a new plane and then lofting between the two. Then we'll do an extrude cut in the opposite direction to give the LEDs a place to live. Now we'll do another extrude to create a ledge for the face to glue onto. I decided to modify this hole to make it easier for the printer to print it. I'll do this by adding 45-degree straight edges to the top of it. Now let's add in the hole for the LED wire to pass through. Okay, now we can start making the face of this. I'm going to start by making the outer diameter, giving it a thickness, and then get totally distracted by changing the color of the main part. Now that I'm back on track, we'll add mates to put the face in the proper place, and then adjust the outer diameter of the face so it has some clearance. Now let's jump back into the part file for the face and add the Dan Designs logo to it. Now we'll use the sketch, scale, and move commands until we have it where we want it. Now that we have it nice and centered, we'll extrude it to give it some thickness. Now we'll make the extruded part a nice Dan Designs blue and pop back over to the assembly to see the finished product. Then we can send these parts over the printer and make them real. Okay, first things first, let's remove the support material. I think this looks really nice. I printed this with a fuzzy skin and I think it came out real well. Looks like the tensioners work well. Alright, let's put the lights in. I chose a pure white outdoor LED strip off of Amazon, link in the description. It is an affiliate link and clicking through those links is a great way to support the channel. I'm going to do a quick install to find out what cut point I should use and then cut it right in the center of that cut point. Now let's check to make sure that length works properly. It should, because we purposely designed the inner diameter of the base to work with these cut point lengths. And look at that, fits perfect. Now let's expose the contacts on one end and then we'll cut off the excess cover. Now let's tin both of the contacts. Tinning is just the process of melting a little bit of solder on each one. Pre-tinning parts makes it super easy to solder parts together. Now let's measure out 17 inches of lamp wire and cut it to length. Once again, there's a link to the wire I used in the description. Now we'll feed the lamp wire through the pass-through hole we designed into the base. I separated the two wires, stripped both of them, and now we'll tin the end of each one of them. Now we'll solder the tinned end of the LED strip to the wires. I'm sure there's a better way to do this than in midair, but where's the challenge in that? Let's position the LED so it'll stick to the side and remove the backing. Now we'll slowly work around the inner diameter, sticking the LED strip to it, making sure the whole strip gets adhered properly. Now let's prepare the other end for a lighting test so I can make sure everything works before we glue this thing together. To do this, I strip and tin the ends of the wires and attach a temporary socket that matches my AC adapter to the end of it. I'm going to use a little electrical tape just to protect the wires from shorting out. Now for the moment of truth. Works great. Okay, onto the face. I really wanted this thing to be gray and black, but after playing around with it for a little bit, I realized that the gray filament doesn't let light pass through at all. So I moved on to the white, and as you can see, it lets light pass through really well. So that's what we're going with. Another thing I realized after a little bit of testing is the light wasn't too consistent lighting the face, and this was due to the black surface here. So I printed a white cover for this to act as a reflector, and this helped the surface illuminate a lot more consistently. So I just glued it in place and set a weight on it and set it aside for a bit to cure. Okay, now that that's cured, we can glue the faceplate in place. And I used E6000 glue for this. I normally use super glue, but I figured this might give it a little bit more weather resistance and also a little bit of flexibility to stand up to the vibrations a little bit better. Okay, let's make sure we got this thing right side up. Now we'll set the face in place. And make sure it's all pressed down into the glue. Then we can set it aside to cure. Okay, now to finish this thing up, we need to put the proper end connector on so it'll attach to the trailer light plug on the truck. So first we have to remove the temporary plug. But before I do that, I'm going to use a piece of electrical tape to mark which side is the negative. Now I'll just heat the solder until the temporary plug falls off. The new plug is way too long, so we'll cut that to length and strip both ends. Then we'll install some shrink tube on the wire. I wish I would have thought of that before I put the electrical tape on here. Now we'll cut the shrink tube in half and put one of them on each one of the separated wires. Now we'll tin all the ends so we can solder them together easily. Now that we have them all tinned, we can just melt them together to create a good connection. That looks good. Now we can move the shrink tube in place, fire up the heat gun, and shrink the tube. Now we can move the larger shrink tube in place to cover the two smaller shrinks. And shrink it to create a nice protected connection. That looks good. Looks like we have a finished product. Now let's try it on the truck. Okay, so I had a lot of fun making these. As you can see, I might got a little carried away. I only have one truck, and this one's going on my truck. But the good news is, these four here, I'm going to give away to viewers. So if you want one of these four, or any of these for, just comment below which one of these you would want. And you can comment on more than one. And I'm going to give them away 1 month from when I post this video. Just a couple catches. You have to be a subscriber. You have to live in the United States and I'll ship it to you for free. And that's about it. So get to commenting and I'll hopefully give one of these to you. As always, all these files are available on my website, so you can head over to dandesigns3d.com and check that out. The link is in the description of this video. Also over on my website you can check out all the other projects I've done and other information, and there's plenty of things to download and play with printing over there, so you can check those out too. Thanks for watching.